What's up, everybody? Little Big Robot's back with another video. This time I'm going to be doing something I've wanted to do for a little while. This is a fantastic work of art, and I'm getting ready to allow you to experience. If you haven't watched this before, it's called Robot Jox. It's a 90s movie, late 80s, 90s, something like that. It's known for its amazing stop-motion bots, giant robots, which we'll talk about in depth. If you don't want spoilers to this, don't watch this yet. It's not like Game of Thrones or something where scary stuff happens. It's just if you want to go watch it, I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can go to a channel. I just went through my Amazon Prime account, and there's a channel, like, you know how you can add on channels on your Amazon account, and you can basically get a free trial, watch Robot Jox or whatever else you want on there for about 7 days, cancel the free trial or keep it. I don't get anything out of it. It's like $5 a month. So I just got the trial and watched Robot Jox and stopped the trial. So let's just get right into it. Just to set it up, this is set in the future. I'm not sure of the year. I can't think off the top of my head, where war is outlawed, which gives you an idea of just how silly this movie is, and how kind of it's trying to be sarcastic and a parody in a way. And so to settle war, they have giant robots fight each other. So in the setting of this particular movie, Alaska's up for grabs. And there's kind of like the bad guys, which are like the Russian Federation. I mean, Prussian or whatever. And then the good guys, which are us and like Japan and stuff like that. And they're going to fight over Alaska. And whoever wins the fight gets to keep Alaska. The main character's name is Achilles. That's his pilot name. This is loosely based on, supposedly, off of the Iliad. What's the one with the guy flying close to the sun? Whatever. It's based off of one of those things that they say. It's pretty loosely based. And there are people they call tubies, and tubies are people who are grown in vats. Like, they're pilots who they're now making so that human pilots, classic human pilots like Achilles, can be replaced by a more advanced, genetically altered human called a tubie. So that gives you an idea. Let's just watch the trailer, then I'm going to watch several clips from the movie, and then we're going to go over some still images and stuff that show just how amazing this this movie is.
It is 50 years since the nuclear holocaust almost destroyed mankind.
So 50 years from after the Holocaust.
War is now outlawed.
War is outlawed.
And all territorial...
Okay, right here, you can just see it. This is another funny thing, is basically people aren't having enough kids. So you can see this woman here. It says prenatal something. They're essentially trying to make pregnancy and having kids kind of cool and sexy and stuff, so people start doing it again, which I think is hilarious, because these days no one wants to have kids anymore. Thank God. But anyway, but in the future, they're completely out of them, and they're trying to get people to have more of them. His sister in this movie is a spoiler, has like 9 or 10 kids, and she's like, I'm doing my part, like in Starship Troopers. So you'll see those posters here and there.
By single combat. A battle rages between...
That's a good shot there to kind of give you an idea of the scale of the bots. I don't know how tall that is. It's what, 60 feet tall, 50, whatever it is. I don't know what that is in meters. I'm sorry.
Gigantic fighting machines piloted by their nation's champions.
That's the evil Russian guy. That is Achilles. You might notice him from other B movies and shows and stuff. So this is a really nice shot. Here he goes up the gantry and gives you an idea of the scale of the bot. So you can see that's a practical bot. They built several of them, for the good ones and the bad one, the evil guy. And actually, there's 2 or 3 versions of each. There's a flying version of the good evil guy. There's a transformed version for each one, which we'll get to later. And there's a space flight one where they're actually more prone and they're flying in space.
When all 10
So here he is, kind of showing you how they prep it. Real simple stuff. This is a great shot that gives you a sense of scale. The foot comes out of the feet basically are going up, right? And this is a good shot of the feet as well. It's a nice design. It's a very practical design. I think they did consult with somebody from NASA or something like that, just on some basics. So the good guy bot looks really kind of practical and real, while the evil bot is much more militaristic looking and kind of cartoony. But as it goes up and comes out of the gantry, I don't know if this is called elevator shaft, you can see two human guys. So they're looking at it right here. Anytime you see a shot like this, you're going to see several of them when it comes to stop motion. Is you've got two actors just looking literally at a green screen. You have to keep the camera situated in a perfect way for stop motion to work. And so they're just staring at a green screen. What is lost here, though, is as the foot rises up and it cuts out to a wider shot here, you no longer see the guys on the little plinth thing there, the little thing to the left of the bot. So if they would, I wish they would have put two little model, you know, just some little plastic, even just to do what they did in Star Wars, the 2000s ones, where on the crowd shots they literally created a lot of that crowd with Q-tips, painted Q-tips. They would just paint them different colors and put them in the crowd and move them underneath, and from a distance you couldn't even tell. So notice the treads on the back of the legs. Those come into play later. Clear the gantry. The echo, like the echoing voice reminds you. That is such a nice shot. Stop motion. Okay, so here's Achilles, and he's fighting some tubies. Tubies are the created humans that are going to replace human pilots. That's Athena. Athena is a character actress from the 80s and 90s. You've seen her in The Heat of the Night, I think it was. I love character actors that you see in stuff. She was in quite a bit of stuff, but she was never really a great big actress. Kind of like the guy who plays Achilles. They were known for some stuff, but where did that go? Oh, okay, I lost my thing. Okay.
Human beings, genetically engineered to be the best fighters in history.
She's one of them.
Okay, so she's climbing this thing to prove that she's tough.
Allow the Confederation to occupy.
We'll get to the robots. So he said, I cannot allow the Federation to occupy 1 square inch of Federation soil. So in other words, we can't let the evil guys, Russia, occupy Alaska. So he's like, you've got to stop the Russian bot. I don't know why they wouldn't just make an army of the giant bots and just take it anyway, but whatever. That's the fun of it, is it doesn't make sense. Yakamoto is a science guy sitting down. Tex is, of course, a Texan, because all Texans walk around talking like that, wearing hats like that. I think that I live in Texas, and nobody ever looks like that. If they do, they're way off in the middle of nowhere. The vast majority of people in Texas are like soccer parents.
Tex, little lady.
My name is Athena.
Athena. That's the scientist guy, the Russian guy. Okay, this scene is really funny. I commented on this before, but I had to do two takes of this. So let me see if I can sum it up better this time. Basically, he's laughing because he just made a very rude comment about Athena, a very sexist comment about literally having sex with her. Like, he didn't say without her consent, but he's basically like, hey, this is a work environment. So this is definitely a RoboCop / Starship Troopers future, where today's rules don't apply at all. So she throws the towel at the back of his head. And of course, you have like 3 scenes where she is either knocked out or held down, and I guess I'm gonna kiss this girl. He's such a creep, absolute creep. I don't know if that's supposed to be written, because maybe in the original Odyssey or whatever it was called that it was based on loosely, the guy was an arrogant jerk, but he gets to say his clobbering time for free there. Okay, so there he's using a blinding beam on the enemy. These are practical. So as you watch these scenes, see if you can recognize what's practical and what's stop motion. Some of it's easier than you think, and some of it is pretty well done. So that's practical. That's stop motion mixed with practical. That's practical. Or whatever you would call it, a real robot. That's a real robot. A model. It's another model leg. The laser beam is not real at all. I think we can agree on that. So we'll go over some of this that's happening. This is just a trailer, so we'll go over this in depth.
I'm gonna get in this thing, and I'm gonna kick your ass!
That's a classic line, if ever I heard one. Okay, so that is the trailer. I mean, the trailer alone is pretty rough. Let's watch some clips now. And this will basically show you.
He's tricky.
So he's kicking him. He's literally kicking him. It's funny because there's no way they were going to be able to show the evil robot actually kicking him. It was just they already had to hold them up. They were very heavy, and they already had to hold them up with bars and the people. So they just cut to a practical foot, a real foot kicking, and he's duh. And I love how he smashes him down like that. And that part where he fell, if you can really feel the weight. These parts are really effective where they switch to a real robot, a real model hitting the ground. You can see the weight of it. And they, it's slower motion and stuff. It really feels great because they're not so huge that they feel more like giant farming equipment or something. They're nice and weathered. That's stop motion. That's real, or a model. Okay, so this part I'm going to spoil real quick for you if you haven't seen it. I'm sure if you have, cool. If you haven't seen it in a while, it's whatever. You go watch the movie anyway. It's a lot of fun. He basically cuts his leg with a blowtorch. The evil guy falls back because his leg is messed up. And as he falls back, it makes his rocket punch fire off, which is every robot needs a rocket punch. The rocket punch flies towards these kind of golden looking things in the background. Those are bandstands or whatever for crowd bleachers and stuff the crowd is watching. I gather that, and see, I like this because they don't explain all the details of it. Your brain fills it in. It's really fun. I like that they look like solar panels, but those are like a tinted protective layer so that lasers bounce off and stuff. But as you can see, it's not foolproof. And watch how the fist flies like it's in Flash Gordon from 22 or whatever, from 44 or whatever. So he jumps up to take the shot. He's like, no, hit me. Another model shot. Stop motion. See, right there, they're just looking at a green screen. It is such a nice shot. Even the glass. Watch as it comes down. I can't tell for sure, but it looks like the glass actually distorts his image a little bit, which is a really, I don't know if that's real or not. We'll have to see. You can definitely tell it's a green screen, but it switches to this glass part. Yeah, it looks, see what I mean? And towards the waist to the middle of the bot there, it looks like the glass is actually distorting the image of the bot, so that if you're looking out the glass, it's got a bit of a distortion to it. I don't know if that's meant or whatever, but it gives it a nice feel. That was practical, and I love how it cuts to his hand. So this is one of my favorite shots. This is a practical model or whatever. The smoke feels perfectly, it feels like the perfect volume. For example, in Dune, the new Dune, they talked about how to get the sand to look really realistic, especially on, they used a lot of practical effects in Dune. They used like practical vehicles, and then they would blend, instead of putting a green screen around them or a LCD screen or whatever, they would display, or they would put out like a brown light, like a sand colored light instead of a green or blue light, so that whenever the camera captured the real image of them, the light coming into their face is white. I could give you an example. I've seen this illustrated a bunch. Let's see here. Let's get a little, I don't have anything white really, but you can see sometimes when I do like that, you see on my face the actual white light. As I turn around, I'll actually reflect the white light coming off. Did I have anything important? Oh, okay. So with green screen, the problem is you're standing them in front of a green screen, and so it puts off greenish light, so that when you cut it out, it'll have this like greenish glow. So that's what the older movies have issues with. They've started to figure out now more, and they also use, instead of a green screen, they'll use an actual LCD with an actual image on it, because it's such a sharp image and can be so bright, it can almost look absolutely real. They did a lot of it in The Mandalorian, so that's a great shot. So I cut this part out because he looks down and he sees literally dead babies and stuff. But he kills all these people. So after he kills those people, he did his 10th fight. You're basically contracted to 10 fights. He didn't win. Nobody won. It was a draw. Spoiler alert. Because the evil guy was knocked down and Achilles was knocked down. So nobody won. And he's like, that's my 10th fight. I'm getting out of here after I killed 300 people and a bunch of children. Now, at this point, Athena has decided she's the new pilot. She wants to be the new pilot because she won the contest where they climb a jungle gym of death, and now she's the pilot. Immediately, as soon as she gets in, she's not really good at it. I mean, she shows her skill, but I guess it's supposed to be she doesn't have the experience that he has had, so that's why she's failing so miserably. But it's kind of also just making her seem really weak. But this is a great series of shots where he basically just knocks her down. He just starts beating on her. Now I'm not sure. Listen to the sound. That pound is such a nice sound. And she's just like, it's like, put your arms up. So he says, use the bolo saw. This is a really, really nice part. So that is a really good series of things that happen. Practical, not practical. That's not the right word. It's all practical. It's all a real effect. But miniatures and sets and whatever. Now, he says use the bolo saw, so she shoots it out. And you can see on the bot already, there is some scratch marks on his arm. So obviously they did it in reverse or whatever, and it was already damaged. But so she shoots the bolo saw, and she's just miming pulling it. That's all she's doing, and it gives you the idea that the bot is actually yanking. See, so that was reversed. That's why there were already cuts on the thing, because you put it on there attached and reverse it, and then you play it backwards, and it looks like it's going forward and wrapping around. It's pretty neat. And that little mechanism there, I guess it's in the arm, but it doesn't really show itself real clearly, but I don't care. I wish more and more movies did stuff where they would just show some weird part and your brain would fill it in. And he's like, ugh, cuts it clean off. And the sound when it falls, a boom. So there's a lot of really good sound design in this too. Listen to this boom. She's all happy. But then he decides he's just going to beat her up. Which is just what a jerk. This is funny because you're like, all right. Do you remember the Hulk? The Hulkbuster? Fighting the Hulk, and he said, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. And that's what it reminds me of. Of course, this was done way earlier. But why she doesn't just put her arms up? But I think that what's kind of interesting about that is as he's knocking her around, it's a really cruel way to just kill somebody. He's literally just like taking her in a tin can and flopping her around. But because her arms in real life she can't get her arms together, the robot's arms are mimicking what she's doing. See, her arms are flopping around. So I think I can kind of forgive that. He's literally, now I don't know why it doesn't just smash you in the front, but why doesn't he just lean all his, so it knocks her out. That old lady actress is great. So Achilles runs out there, and Achilles runs out, gets in the bot, says, that famous line, I'm going to get in that bot and I'm going to kick your ass. At one point, they fly to space. Achilles takes off into space. I guess he goes too close to the sun, quote unquote. Yeah, that's maybe a reference to that. And the Russian does this. This is a great sequence there. Another version of the models here. But for state-of-the-art technology, it sure can't track, like this giant robot, it can't track that. It would lock on like that. An iPhone would lock on that in 2 seconds. But they want to make it feel ponderous and huge, like a big ship. There's no sound, because there shouldn't be in space. There is inside. Why was it locked on if he had to drive it in? He's like, oh. There's another good shot. Here's another couple of good shots of the interior of the bot. They designed this, put it in some primitive animation thing, but it gives you a good shot of the inside of the feet. And it's just nonsense. None of this stuff means anything, but it's fun to see.
Right engine is functioning.
Yeah.
So what happens after that, just so you know, is they land right back on the same spot in Earth. I guess they go back to the arena. The Russian pops out 4 legs, or he has 4 legs, I should say. This is a 4-legged beast. You can see the arms still cut off. And Achilles, those treads on the back of the leg allow him to basically fold over. So like, here's his feet right here. So he boop, and then he drives around like a tank. So now he's in tank mode. And the Russian is easily the worst shot in the world. Again, an iPhone would track on this thing in 2 seconds, or a cheap Android, anything would lock on to that. It can recognize your face. You could easily make the computer recognize a giant rolling robot. And he keeps missing. Just look at his shots. He's right there. I mean, he's literally right there. You could just... It's silly. And again, you're seeing editing there, just of him cut reaction shots. But look, he can't hit him. He's right there. What's funny is he's going like... And they're like, you're shooting. He's like, pew, 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 like he's aiming. And it absolutely doesn't match shooting. It's just like he's just pantomiming stuff. But look at that cool crater in the background from where he was rolling. So that's a real... They would film, I believe, on like 10 or so ping pong table size area. And they would have sand down there, and they would explode these little explosions. And it gives it a really nice look back there. It looks like a real explosion. And then he shoots himself in the knee because it's state of the art. I mean, he's like, oh, like it hurts. Like, this is all you're shooting. Now, this is an interesting part. He says, the director says, all right, you're reaching down to grab Achilles' robot and flipping him over. If you're piloting a giant robot, do you move slowly to make sure the bot moves slowly because it can't move faster? Or does the suit make you move ponderously because it's trying to make you feel like the weight of the bot so that you're not overworking it? Does that make sense? Nice green screen shot there. And he literally just flips it over. And I'll show you a close-up of this at the end. So this is the famous crotch saw. I want you to notice before... I mean, it's so good. Watch as it extends out of the crotch saw. I guess you need that as a bot in case you ever have a robot flipped underneath around, whatever, cutting logs, I don't know. But as funny as it is, look at the mechanism of the actual saw and everything coming out, and it's pretty darn impressive. Everything folds, and my thought on this was that they actually created a literal thing that could pop out. But see, this was confusing to me too. Watch the bot. The bot has to be stop motion, but it almost doesn't look like... It looks so smooth. See how smooth that all kind of goes? I can't figure that shot out, if that's stop motion or if it's a practical thing and they have it on stilts or like rods. Look how smooth it all is. I think it's just... Maybe it's just really smooth stop motion. So the saw comes out and does its business. Great shot of the saw, but then when you cut to the saw going through the cockpit, it looks like they made it out of cardboard. There's no teeth. They just had to get this shot done quick. Look at that. It looks real, like nothing like the actual saw. But then when you cut to the saw, that shot of it, it's pretty Doctor Who level, effects. Okay, so that's some of the scenes. I don't want to spoil the end for you in case you've never seen it, but the end is classic silly. People make fun of all the time. Like, it was such a dumb ending. It's like, the whole movie is so dumb, but that's what's so good about it. I love these giant robots. So let me show you. These are some of the different. Let me start with this one here. This is a shot of one of the hero bots that they were using for animating and stuff, and you can see the size of it. So I was suggesting that was probably like 1/18 scale, somewhere around there. The figure would probably be like that. I'm thinking so. 1/18, 1/16, 1/20. I don't know. You can tell. I've been looking into it and finding blogs of people who were there and designed and stuff, some of the bots, but I still can't find a really clear bit of information on it. I did find I'll try to link it in the description, a clip of the making of it. But it's really just the actor talking about how fun it was and the models were so cool. But he doesn't really give any real insight. But I believe, like I said, I think they worked with a guy from NASA to kind of help design some of the, kind of like as a reference. Here's where he flipped them over, and right before he uses the crotch saw. So you can see the treads. You see where the guy's hammer is? That is the treads on the back of the bot's legs. And so he basically kind of squats down and drives around. This is after they flipped the bot over and they had to kind of keep him in place. I'm not sure what's going on here exactly. This might be in the middle of a stop motion part, but it almost looks like an action. They're in the middle of doing something, because look at the guy in the dark glasses. He's really grunting there, like they're flipping it back over or something. It's not a part of animation. It's almost like they're getting it in place for animation. But look at the size of the Russian bot is so tall. The guy can use it as a place to write almost. It's crazy how huge those are. And then this is my favorite shot probably of all time. I use this on my Twitter profile. I switch it out once in a while. And it gives you an idea of the size, the weight of these guys. I'm not sure how much these things would have weighed, but they couldn't have been light at all. You can see the treads on the back of the feet. So it feels, the NASA bot, or the good guy bot, feels much more practical and real. Like it could almost work. It's a little more squat, a little more sturdy looking. The Russian one is much more evil guy, science fiction-y, where it's impractical looking. But that just gives you an idea. I love that shot though. See, so it has to be supported by these rods here. You can see these rods that are holding up, and there's one up top, I believe, as well. And then they would cut those out, I guess, later at the green screen or whatever technology used back then. I think they even had some computer stuff that would help. You have to remember that, whatchamacallit, when was Jurassic Park, when that came out, how amazing those graphics still look. And that was, 90 or something like that, 92 or something, whatever it was. But just, it's such a great movie. So go check it out if you haven't watched it before. I thought I'd give you a look into one of my favorite little movies of all time. Like I said, if you want to go, I'll link to the channel I used on Amazon to watch this for a free trial. It makes for a great, if you have a kid. There is a couple little sexy scenes in it. There's an actual butt, like a nude butt, at one point. So just be aware, there's a little nudity in it, stuff like that. So, but if you got like older kids and stuff like that, and you just turn that part off or whatever, because the giant robots are so good. Or I'll link to that clip, the clips video I showed, this one, where it just shows a whole bunch of clips, and you can show that to them, because that shows just the fun robot stuff. It's just the fights and stuff. But it's just a great movie. Could you imagine having a model kit of these? I have found somebody who has created a kind of a reproduction one. So I'll see if I can link to that as well. So I've got to go research all the stuff that I said I'm going to link. And enjoy it, everybody. I'll talk to you later. And if you like more content like this, just let me know, because I love this long-form stuff, talking about favorite topics and movies and whatever, giant robot toy stuff. And please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 3,000 or 3,500 by the end of the year. I think I'll probably get to 3,200 by the end of the year, I bet. That'll be fun. Have a good one, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.